Hello and welcome to Newsfeed on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala, bringing you trending stories that people are talking about and sharing around the globe today, and also their opinions on such issues. 5,000 repentant Boko Haram fighters reunited with families, says federal government. Nigeria is bleeding, Governor Fintiri tells federal government. Customs sees smuggled fuel, auctions it at 630 naira per litre. South Africa, Rwanda clash over DR Congo conflict. Now, top on what's trending, the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, says at least 5,000 repentant Boko Haram fighters have been reunited with their families. It says none of the ex-combatants returned to the battleground after 6 months of the radicalization program. Ambassador Meiro Musa Abbas, head of Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism (PCVE), stated these at the second-day session of the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum. She said the radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration program for ex-Boko Haram fighters, known as Operation Safe Corridor, had reintegrated over 5,000 repentant Boko Haram into the society. Now reacting, one Ima of Lagos wrote, and some of the youths who protested for a better country in 2020 are still imprisoned. Next one is from one Kings for Real, and it says, with this kind of action, there can never be an end to insurgency. Whoever takes lives of innocent people shouldn't be pardoned in this manner. They should get at least life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. How do you want the families of those they killed mercilessly to feel? This is absolute injustice. God bless Nigeria. And the last reaction on this story says, them lock people wey protest, continue releasing criminals into the society, and them want make terror no dey the country. Next on what's trending, the governor of Edo State has signed the Secret Cult and Similar Activities Prohibition Bill 2025 into law, repealing the Edo State Secret Cult Prohibition Law 2018. The new law, recently passed by the Edo State House of Assembly and signed by Governor Monday Okpebholo, takes effect from 24th January 2025. Disclosing this in a statement on Thursday, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Fred Itua, said the new law contains stiffer penalties for anyone connected to cult-related offenses. He noted that individuals who kill in furtherance of cult-related activities are to get the death penalty, while those who financially or materially sponsor the crime are liable to 21 years imprisonment if found guilty. According to the statement, harboring of cultists or allowing the use of one's property for cult activities attracts a 10-year imprisonment and demolition of such property. One Frank wrote, this is the best bill for Edo people to live in peace again. Next one is from one Gloria Akibe, and she's saying, next should be death sentences to those found with human parts or killed. And the last reaction on this story is from one Abdullah Day. When will embezzlement jail term be approved? Now, former Executive Secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme (NHIS), Professor Usman Yusuf, has been arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). The head of media and publicity for the commission, Dele Oyewale, confirmed this to newsmen on Wednesday. Professor Yusuf was arrested by EFCC operatives who raided his residence on Wednesday. One Nosa Kaduna says they one allegedly try silence this man now. He's been very vocal, calling this present administration out for what it is. Abioye Emmanuel Opeyemi is saying, we hate criticism in this country. You can't fight the government and win. May God help this nation. The last reaction we're taking on this story is from one Elvis. Arresting those who speak up against the power while the real thieves are allegedly parading the corridor of power. Next on what's trending, the governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Umar Fintiri, on Thursday criticized the economic policies of the federal government, claiming they are imposing severe hardship on Nigerians. He made the statement during a meeting of the National Reconciliation Committee of the People's Democratic Party with governors from the Northeast and other key stakeholders in Bauchi. Attending the meeting were the governors of Bauchi and Taraba, as well as the acting PDP national chairman. Fintiri expressed frustration with the state of the nation's economy, stating, quote, Nigeria is bleeding, we are suffering, there is too much anger and the economic policy is not working. That is why we always call on the federal government to reconsider some of these economic policies that are only putting hardship on Nigerians, close quote. Now reacting, someone wrote, Mr. Governor, as the chief executive of your state, your responsibility is to guarantee the security and well-being of its citizens. If you are incapable of doing so, you should resign. Hassan Kurumi is saying, that's the fact. We really know that this government is fighting the most vulnerable among us by arresting Professor Usman, using EFCC to arrest him simply because he criticized Tinubu's government. And the last one is from one Faisat, and it says, and you are not rejecting the money you are receiving from the bleeding economy. When Buhari was using 97% of Nigeria's earnings to service debt, the states were receiving zero allocation from federal government. The economy was not bleeding. Now, the verbal crossfire between former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai and presidential media aide Daniel Bwala continued on Thursday when the ex-governor said he would have still excoriated the All Progressives Congress APC if he were in the cabinet of President Bola Tinubu as a minister. On Monday, El-Rufai spoke at a national conference in Abuja saying he no longer recognized the APC and that the party has tended toward a one-man show. Quote, you cannot afford to have illiterates, semi-illiterates, and cunning people as your leaders. This is why we end up with the poor leadership we have today. Close quote, he had said, criticizing the leadership of the party. Bwala responded on X and said El-Rufai would not have expressed such a position if he were in the cabinet of the president. He said, quote, my senior brother, if you were to be in the government and cabinet, would you have held and expressed the same position? History is replete with examples. It is a government you participated in its formations that you now want to unseat. Haba Malam, close quote. Replying to the presidential aide on X, El-Rufai said, quote, I was cabinet minister 22 years ago and was clear to Asiwaju that I was not interested in any position in his future government. The pathetic manner all of you latter-day converts to the Tinubu government make an issue of something that I never wanted in the first place is perhaps a reflection of the level of your moral flexibility. Quote, if I had remained in the Tinubu government, I would say or do the same on the tragedy within a party I was a founder and the governments that emerged from it, first in private sessions with those concerned and then go public if no remedial actions are taken. Go and check my public service record from 1998, close quote. Tinubu nominated El-Rufai as minister in August 2023, but the ex-governor's nomination was rejected by the Senate. Since the incident, El-Rufai has not been seen in a gathering of APC chieftains. The former governor has also not been seen around the Aso Villa, the seat of power, or near the president whom he vigorously campaigned for in the last poll. Now to the reactions. The first one says, El-Rufai is much smarter than the entire Tinubu cabinet. People like Matawale and Badaru are among the top figures in the administration. I'm glad El-Rufai is not part of this government, which is allegedly destroying our country with its harmful policies. As for Bwala, he betrayed his boss Atiku just to join this government, so he cannot be trusted to be truthful. Next one says, of course, you are who you are. You did for Buhari as a serving president. So, and the last reaction is from one Babaiga, and it reads, 2023, El-Rufai was FCT minister, in bracket, the best so far. He demolished the PDP chairman's house even though he was also in PDP. He tendered his resignation to Obasanjo because Obasanjo was interfering with his work. 2015 September, El-Rufai called out Buhari for not following the manifesto and he stood on business. El-Rufai is way better and smarter than any of Tinubu's ministers. Now let's go on a quick break. We'll be back in no time. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining us, you're watching Newsfeed on Trust TV. And the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, says it will embark on a nationwide mass rally on Tuesday, February 4, 2025, in protest of the 50% telecom tariff increase recently approved by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. According to a communique signed by the NLC President, Joe Ajero, on Wednesday, a decision was taken at an emergency meeting convened by the union's National Administrative Council, NAC, on Wednesday. The NLC said the rally will serve as a warning on the dangers of imposing such an unfair increase on a struggling population earning a minimum wage of only 70,000 naira, a population that has suffered outrageous hike in the price of petrol, high cost of food, high electricity tariff, and general rising inflation. Next on what's trending, the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) has seized 199,495 liters of smuggled fuel in Adamawa State. A statement by the NCS on Thursday said the move is in line with the agency's resolve to crack down on smuggling. The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, said intelligence-driven operations by NCS officers in the Adamawa Taraba Command led to the interception of 199,495 liters of premium motor spirit (PMS). He added that, quote, "A statement by the NCS on Thursday said the move is in line with the agency's resolve to crack down on smuggling." The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, said intelligence-driven operations by NCS officers in the Adamawa Taraba Command led to the interception of 199,495 liters of premium motor spirit (PMS). He added that the operatives of Operation Whirlwind has successfully seized fuel with a duty-paid value (DPV) of 199,495,000 being smuggled across borders using tankers, jerry cans, and drums. Now, one Usman Alhat wrote, "Nigeria Customs Service not doing the needful in the fight against economic saboteurs, smugglers along the Nigeria's land borders, most especially in the north, where insecurity is worsening daily. Banditry, kidnapping, violent extremisms, insurgency, and deadly terror groups, violent extremists and terrorists are everywhere, massively killing innocent citizens. It's very unfortunate." Next one says, "Why person go miss this kind of opportunity self? I beg, another location day ground." The last reaction on the story says, "This thing don't they resemble story where politicians they use back up their discounted sale price to themselves. How can smugglers carry operation of this magnitude without the knowledge of the government to begin?" Now, Meta has agreed to pay President Donald Trump $25 million to settle a 2021 lawsuit he filed claiming he was wrongfully censored by Facebook and Instagram after the U.S. Capitol riot, the company said Wednesday. The Wall Street Journal first reported the settlement of the suit brought against Meta and its chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, in what was seen as a victory for Trump. According to people familiar with the agreement, the journal said $22 million of the payment will go towards funding Trump's future presidential library, with the remainder covering legal fees and payments to other plaintiffs in the case. Meta in the settlement will not admit wrongdoing over the suspension of Trump's accounts. Now, one Benga of Femi wrote, "If he didn't win as 47th president, will they have negotiated a payout? Absolute power." Next one is from one Eldorado Smart. "Wahala for the poor masses. All my accounts where Oga Mark don ban. Nobody pay me." And the last reaction is from one The Real Foreign Face, and it says, "Real businessman. I so much like him." Now, finally, South Africa and Rwanda's already fraught diplomatic relations have worsened after President Cyril Ramaphosa accused a Rwanda-backed M23 rebel group of killing South African peacekeepers in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. As the rebels gained the upper hand on the battlefield by capturing most of Goma, the biggest city in the east, South Africa fired a diplomatic salvo, warning that further attacks on its troops would be considered a, quote, declaration of war, close quote. BBC reports that Rwanda's president, Paul Kagame, hit back, accusing South Africa of being part of a belligerent force involved in offensive combat operations to help the Congolese government fight against its own people. And that's a wrap on the program today. Do also follow us across all our social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. Until next week, goodbye.